Morning, all of you. Hope you all are doing good. Take good care of yourself as Corona is spreading day by day. We are going to discuss our first geography chapter, environment, and its components. And I'm going to give you a brief description of whatever we are going to study in this chapter. Fine. So, the topics that we are going to cover is the introduction of the environment, its meaning, the components, the threats that are to environment these days, biotic and abiotic components, natural environment, domains of the environment, then biosphere, ecosystem, and human environment. These are the topics that we are going to cover in our chapter environment. Now, coming to first introduction, what basically environment is. Whatever we see in our surrounding, for example, whatever wherever you are, whatever you can see in your environment, in your surroundings right now, the table, chair, school, car, parks, newspaper, mountains, rivers, trees, clothes, books, and so on, everything come in environment. Fine. So we have two kinds of things, two kinds of components of environment: natural and man-made. Meaning of environment: environment means the surroundings or conditions in which person, people, or plants lives or operate. Fine. Again, the surrounding. Environment is the place, people, things, or nature that surrounds any living organism and affects its life. For example, we are affected by our surrounding. Whatever we have in the surrounding affects our life directly. Now, coming to the components of environment, we have three components: natural components, man-made components, and the human components. In natural components, the God-made components: air, water, land, and living things. The natural components are the ones that are made by God. Then we have the man-made components. Man-made components are one. Let's move on to next slide first. These are the natural components. The man-made components, it include all things that are made by human beings. For example, all the buildings that we make, parks, bridges, roads, monuments in industries, schools, chair, tables, all these things are man-made things, and these are the man-made components of the environment. Fine. So first was natural, second is man-made. First, natural has the components that are made by God. Then we have the third component of environment, that is humans. These are the human related values and beliefs. For example, the family, individual, community, religion, education, political situation, economic scenarios. We all belong to this component. We are this component of the environment. Fine. So overall, how many were there? Natural components, then man-made, and then the human components. Now coming to the threats to environment. Threat means the dangers to the environment that we people cause. Threats to environment means anything that can disturb our natural environment. For instance, man-made things such as fumes are polluting the air. Land is being consumed to build factories. All the land is being consumed, air is being polluted. So these are the harms that we cause to the environment. Coming to the natural environment, land, water, air, plants, and animals make the natural environment. And the very important point to be noticed in this slide is the World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th of June every year. Fine. This you should remember, that the World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th of June every year. Fine. Now coming to the biotic and the abiotic components. Biotic and abiotic components. Biotic, the world of living organisms or the living things. For example, plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, people, all those things that breathe. Fine. Then the abiotic components, the world of non-living elements like rock, water, air, sunlight, wind, land, soil, that do not breathe are called abiotic components. Now coming to the different domains of environment. We have studied them earlier also in our earlier class. Anyways, The domains of the environment are lithosphere, hydrosphere. Coming to these both, lithosphere is the solid crust or the hard top layer of the earth. It is made up of the rocks, minerals, and covered by the thin layer of soil. That means the land portion is known as lithosphere, and the water portion, that means lakes, seas, oceans, these are known as hydrosphere. Coming to the atmosphere, this is again one of the domain of the atmosphere. The atmosphere that has the air component, and biosphere that has plants and animals as basic components. So the overall one is the biosphere, having the plants and animals as components. Plant and animal kingdom together make biosphere or the living world. It is a narrow zone of the earth where land, water, and air interact with each other to support life. This is the definition of biosphere. Plants and living organisms together make the biosphere, and it is known as the narrow zone of the earth where land, water, and air interact with each other. Fine. Now coming to the next topic, that is ecosystem. Ecosystem includes all of the living things, plants, animals, and organisms in a given area interacting with each other and also with their non-living environments, weather, earth, sun, soil, climate, and atmosphere. So our dependence on each other as well as on environment. The dependence of each other on another is basically the ecosystem. The human environment. Human beings interact with the environment on day-to-day basis and modify it according to their needs. Due to modernization, our needs grow, and so we learn new ways to fulfill our needs. So the human environment, the environment that we create, the changes that we make, we learn to grow crops and create a system wherein the transactions can take place. This is example of barter system. This was just a brief introduction of the